Hello, all performers, and welcome to the first in a five-part series on courageous leadership, which we obviously need more now than probably ever before, certainly than ever before, I think, in my lifetime. And this can actually be a tremendous opportunity for you to show up as the best outperforming courageous version of yourself, because the world needs it more now than ever before. And it doesn't mean you have to be communicating with a company or your team or your direct reports or perhaps just your family, whoever it is. We need people that are willing to actually step up and to demonstrate courageous leadership for those around them. Because to put it bluntly, there are a lot of people out there that are freaking out. And there are a lot of people out there that are looking to others to help them feel more certain about what's going on, to help them navigate this change. And my whole goal and aim with this five-part series was to just give you some quick tools in your toolbox that you're able to use however you're looking at the coronavirus and everything that goes along with it, to be able to help you not only with your mindset, with your messaging, and also moving forward. Because one of the lines I've been thinking a lot of this morning was, I think it was from the movie Invincible, but it's characters tested when you're up against it. And I think a lot of us are being tested right now. Our character is being tested. Our courage is being tested. So let's talk about some ways that you could potentially step up and you can do that to be able to be that best leadership version of yourself for people around you. And the first thing I think when we look at mindset is oftentimes when I'm doing a leadership presentation or a workshop, I will just start off with a commitment to being your best. And I will ask the audience, what one word, two words, perhaps three words at most, represent the best version of how you want to show up in the world? And I might hear things like courageous or maybe integrity or trust or patience, positivity. I hear all different types of things. But then what I will always say after I hear these things from the audience is I will say, you don't need these things when it's 70 degrees and sunny outside and everything is perfect in the world. You're hitting all of your targets and your metrics and budgets and projects are being delivered on time. You actually need to remember that this is your visual in your mind of you showing up as the best version of yourself. You need that when times are tough. You need that when there's change going on. You need that when the future is uncertain. And I would just encourage you that I'm such a big believer in anchoring in the mindset first thing in the morning for how you want to approach the day. And again, we are all being tested right now when whatever you think of in terms of this is the one or perhaps two or three different words that represent the best version of me, anchor those in and think about that first thing right away when you start the day, before you interact with your family, with your team, with your direct reports, with your company, because they will follow what you do and your actions much more than just what you are saying. So it has to be that commitment to showing up as your best. The second one, if we are going to talk about messaging, I think about some of the messages that I've gotten from just different companies communicating their approach to COVID-19 and the coronavirus and everything else. And I think of this email that I got from Marriott actually kind of struck me, because the first three paragraphs, I'm not going to read them all, but just the first one says Marriott's lived by a core value established by the founder to take care of our guests and associates. And then it goes into our hearts and thoughts go out to the people who have been affected by the unprecedented events, and we appreciate what you are doing all around your communities and everything else. It says, in this climate, we know that travel may not be your first thought or priority, but then these are some of the precautions and some of the safety features that we're going into. And I only say that in that a lot of times when we hear courageous leadership, we think it's just about giving direction, and we think it's just about X's and O's. And I would encourage you that whoever you're communicating with, again, whether it's a team or whether it's potentially your customers or your clients, Start off your communication with demonstrating some amount of empathy and some amount of understanding that I know what it's like to be you. Like I can get and I can understand and I can appreciate what you're going through, because this is unprecedented events and times for all of us. And it doesn't have to be a lot. It can literally just be maybe 2 or 3 sentences at the start of an email, but it's very different when you start an email or you start a communication or a meeting that way, and then you maybe go into some of the strategies, the tactics, the X's and O's, and the changes you're making. The message is just received a lot better when people can immediately say, like, okay, I know that that person gets where I'm coming from or what I'm going through. And the last one, on moving forward, I will oftentimes talk in performance psychology and peak performance about reference points. And a reference point is basically if I've been through something tough before, something really hard before, if I've done it before, I can do it again. So when we look at something like this, it could be very easy for all of us to say, well, I've never been through any times like this before. And in a way, none of us have been through a pandemic like this. But you've been through tough times in your life before. Times where maybe you've had to make a pivot in your business. Times where you didn't know exactly what the future was going to look like or what the new normal was going to be. You didn't know when the light at the end of the tunnel was actually going to come because time frames were uncertain. I guarantee you've been through times like that before. And if you can say to yourself and reflect on that and say, I've done it before, I can do it again. And it doesn't have to be situation specific. It doesn't have to be just a time that you're struggling in your business and now you're using that for a struggle that you're currently having in your business with this. It can be any amount of adversity or uncertainty in the future, or I'm not sure what this is going to look like. And if you can come back, and outperformers do a fantastic job of actually harnessing that and using that as a reservoir of strength, what they've been through before, to be able to help them moving forward, just do that and you're going to be so much better off. So again, remember the mindset of committing to your best every single day, the messaging, demonstrating empathy, and you know what people are going through, and then the moving forward where you use those reference points where you've been through tough times before. And trust me, this too shall pass. But it's a good thing for all of us to remember because it will help you move forward. So please feel free to share this with anybody you think might find value. Again, we need courageous leadership out there now more than ever. So thanks for tuning in for part 1, and stay tuned for part 2 tomorrow. Have a great day. Keep outperforming.